That's what democracy is. And the way you guys are so upset about her saying that we should criticize the Democratic Party doesn't feel like democracy.
On another episode, you guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you are joining for the very first time, I see you as well. Thank you so much for clicking on this video. In this video, we are going to be talking about the controversy surrounding Chappell Roan not outrightly endorsing a candidate for the coming presidential election. She had mentioned in an interview that both sides has their own issues and that people should as well criticize the Democratic Party. A lot of people are expecting her to outrightly state that she is going to be voting for Kamala. She as well made a video saying she's not even going to be voting for Trump, but then both parties have issues. People are coming out to say she's not for the people and she knows what she's doing, and this has been sparking a lot of conversation and getting her dragged to a point where she had to cancel some of her shows. I have put together what the people are saying about the Chappell Roan controversy because it's really a lot. People are engaging in this and dropping their 2 cents. I have put together what these people have to say, so without wasting much time, let's get right into it.
Before I say what I'm about to say, please know I'm a fan of Chappell Roan. Or, I'm a fan of her music, I should say. Now, she just got on the app and clarified she's not voting for Trump. Great, I'm glad she clarified that. But she also made it clear that she thinks all of the very valid critiques that she received for her interview, in which she said there are problems on both sides, which is the definition of equivocating. She's pretending as though that very valid critique was people falling for clickbait and people not thinking critically. And she's got about one more good time to get up on this internet and speak down to her fans. She's got about one more good time before the whole shit is up. Honestly, it's giving entitled. It's giving no PR training. It's giving... I'm finding it exhausting. I don't know. Like I said, I'm a fan of her music. I've been bopping to the album. But girl.
I don't care that Chappell Roan's not endorsing Kamala Harris. I care that she's voting for Kamala Harris because she cares about trans rights. And that's what she said in the interview. I'm not sure that she actually said that she'll be voting for Kamala Harris, but she did say that she'll be voting against Donald Trump. And I think that that's a critically important thing because it's a policy issue that matters to a whole lot of people. And I think the fact that the media picked her substanceless non-endorsement as the news story to come out of that interview shows where our media's priorities lie, and they are not with policy. I do think that that is one thing that Republicans very fairly criticize the media about. They care a lot more about narratives than they do about policy. Which sucks because policy matters and voters actually care about policy. So if you actually care about policy and you actually care about substance, then you have to do your own research for the most part. And if you have to do your own research on something, I guarantee that it's going to come out much less informed than if something were presented to you from the media that does internal vetting, that does internal fact checking, and that consults with experts. Because expertise matters in order to make policies work. And the issue is Donald Trump is not a policy guy. He's in fact quite terrible at policy because he thinks he's an expert when he isn't. But if the media doesn't analyze that and the media doesn't tell you how much he's misinforming you actively, then you don't know. But it's like a decade into the Trump show. You should know by now.
I have some thoughts on the Chappell Roan situation, and I didn't know who to share it with besides the internet, so hi. So basically, Chappell said that there are problems in both political parties and there are several problems with our government as a whole, and that we should take time to think about who we're endorsing and what they stand for, and we should dig deeper into everything we believe about all authority figures. And a lot of people took that to mean that she's not a real advocate for the people because she's not endorsing the party that supports, women's rights, LGBTQ rights, that kind of thing. And hear me out when I say this, being upset with Chappell for saying that we should criticize the Democratic Party has the same energy as a lot of right-wing Trump supporters. And I say this because it's very well known that there's not a line Donald Trump and the Republican Party cannot cross without losing a vote. There is no other way to push authority figures and our government into making actual change besides criticizing them, besides advocating for what we believe is right. That's what democracy is. And the way you guys are so upset about her saying that we should criticize the Democratic Party doesn't feel like democracy. Kamala Harris doesn't have the best stance on Israel-Palestine. Her border patrol policies are very right-leaning. To be upset with people for criticizing authority figures when said authority figures have the right intentions in some areas feels so wrong. We should constantly be criticizing our government, even our own party. We should constantly be pushing our own party to do better. I saw a comment on one of the posts about Chäppell saying, "In no way did I expect Billie Eilish to handle this situation so much better than Chäppell." But that's only because Billie Eilish endorsed Kamala Harris and didn't say that we should criticize the Democratic Party. And I think that's so stupid. Criticizing the Democratic Party is good. If we don't, we are no better than the right with the way they allow Donald Trump to get away with anything he says or does.
I am actually rushing out the door to meet a friend for drinks, but I am seeing a lot of political upheaval on TikTok because Chappell Roan didn't just like outright directly endorse Kamala the way everyone wants her to, and people are complaining. But I just wanted to share my little blip of perspective, and it's something that kind of keeps me sane during election season because, you know, I fucking hate Donald Trump. But also, it's not fair of me to assume that everyone is going to vote and think the exact same way that I do. And I think that that's something that we probably forget fairly often and expect from musicians, which I understand that music is an avenue to really get out your political grievances. So I can see where we correlate musicians with political activism. But it is not your favorite artist's job to endorse a political candidate. James Baldwin said something along the lines of, "I love my country, and because of that, I have the right to criticize my country." And in the article, she mentioned, and I think this is the thing that people are pissed about, she mentioned that there are issues on both sides. It's safe to assume that she's not going to vote for Trump. She clarified that, and y'all are still mad because she didn't just outright like throw her full support behind Kamala. But here's the thing. This is how accountability works. Sure, is it a scary election season? Yeah. Like any election where Donald Trump is on the ballot is scary. But since when are we putting ourselves in a position where we throw our dying, unwavering support behind a politician and expecting them to be perfect and just being super agreeable? You cannot hold those people accountable without criticizing them as well. That's how change is brought. You don't get to control every single person in your life because that's what people on the internet make you feel like you can do. If you can cancel people on the internet because of who they choose to vote for, like that's not how it works in real life.
Not to kick Chappell Roan while she's down, but I just don't understand why she uses social media all by herself the way that she does. Like, she's actually too famous to be engaging with us on social media unedited, unchecked, unreviewed. It's to the point where, like, it's actually bad for her career and her mental health. If I was Chappell Roan, I would have called up my business manager, confirm I have the income to pay for the next 4 years worth of social media support from the PR agency, and then called PR agency and then asked them to take away all my passwords and then edit all of my shit before I post it ever again. My phone would be used to text my 6 little friends and my family, to record my songs and little bits and bobs that come to my head, and to take the pictures that go through 4 rounds of reviews before they get posted by my team on my social media. She keeps trying to talk to us because she wants to be authentic, but I think the thing is, like, authenticity without the ability to, like, articulate yourself feels tactless and makes you look bad. Like, she had to say the same video like 3-4 times to get her point across. You did an interview that didn't go well, and then you come and make a video that doesn't go well. You make another video to explain yourself, and now you're dropping out of shows because, like, you can't get your point across. There are people who went to college who have, like, full-on degrees and years of experience specifically to help you do this. I get Chappell's point of, like, feeling that she can't endorse a candidate because she's picking from a lesser of 2 evils, but, like, it shouldn't take you 3 rounds to be able to say that. actually. And on top of that, you shouldn't be approaching those sort of conversations with a sort of like condescension while also yourself not knowing basic facts about the candidates, like the pronunciation of their names. Chapel, I say this from the kindest place of my heart, okay? Put the phone down. Matter of fact, you're hot to go give your passwords to the social media team and log out for good. You can say payments of prison, in many ways it is, but like that is the nature of the career that you've chosen. You cannot just.
My problem with Chappell Roan not wanting to endorse Kamala Harris isn't the fact that she won't endorse Kamala Harris, because on a lot of levels I actually completely understand that. There are a lot of things that I personally disagree with that Kamala Harris is running on, but my issue is the fact that Chappell Roan, when asked about it, said that both sides have issues, which leaves a lot of room for the implication that on some level both sides are equal because both sides are bad, but that's not the case. And it also disregards a lot of Kamala Harris's statements and boils a lot of her statements down to Biden's campaign, but she is not Joe Biden, as she said in the debate, because she's had to say time and time again, she's not the same person as Joe Biden. She's not running on the same policies that he was running on. For example, she's very clear about her stance on abortion, whereas Joe Biden was kind of like, whatever, which sets her apart from him. And she's advocating for a ceasefire, whereas Joe Biden is actively funding Israel. There are a lot of things that make them different, but treating them like both sides are bad boils the election down to something that it's not and oversimplifies it and leaves a lot of room for confusion and ignorance. And so, while, again, I do agree that Kamala Harris's campaign does have issues, I think to just say, oh, both sides have problems is an ignorant point of view, because it disregards a lot of the actual policies that both people have made and shows that someone doesn't actually know a lot about the campaign. And on top of that, Chappell Roan has built her fame off of like drag and queer culture, and Donald Trump's entire like thing is that trans people suck, and he's trying to ban drag culture. And so to be who Chappell Roan is and to have her fame built off of what it's built off of, and to still say both sides are bad and leave room for the belief that they're equal is just baffling to me.
You guys think what Chappell Roan said is enough to get her cancelled? She said too much, because there are some people supporting her. There are some people saying she didn't do too much. Like, because you are endorsing someone or you're voting for someone doesn't mean there is no room for you to criticize them. Doesn't mean that they are perfect and you should just follow whatever it is and just, be a supporter of whatever comes out of their mouth and whatever decisions they put to the public that they are going to make. Which I think that is very, very valid. Some of the other end saying she make it seems like the issue on both sides are equal, which a lot of people believe that it's not equal. This person said, here's the thing, well, a few things. She is a woman and LGBTQIA. Women and LGBTQIA are under attack because of DJT, and if she is in support like she claims, then she needs to vote and endorse Kamala. Her voice and opinion matters to many. She is famous and idolized. Also, I am mad at her because of other things she said in a rant when she's sitting there yelling that we haven't done enough for the world. Like, this person is saying she has so many, fans, and she's so famous. Her voice matters in so many things. Another person said, I'm saying I will vote for her but won't settle is 100% the mindset of people should have. You shouldn't throw in the towel just because she wins. Demanding change and more from the administration is very vital, which is one of the points that some people have made that I feel like I totally agree with. Like, because you're supporting them does not mean that there should be no room to criticize them. But this election is a very sensitive one and it's a very tight one. So I get where some of these reactions are coming from as well. Another one says, shouldn't she as a human being be allowed to utilize social media? This is a comment from the stage that said that she shouldn't be using her social media the way she's using it, because she knows that whatever it is that she says is going to go viral, and she is struggling to actually put her words together and people are misconstruing her words, and she should just put her phone down and just not use the media like every other person else. So I think that is where this comment is coming from. She as a human being be allowed to utilize social media. All this critique from her being just human being like the rest of us proves her point and is what pushes people over the hedge. Another one said, don't be blind to the reality that you're in. But honestly, I don't care what any celebrity has to say. They don't live in our reality, which is true. The last one I have here said, unfortunately, Kamala isn't actually a step forward for trans rights. The entire DNC didn't bring up the onslaught of anti-trans legislation for the duration of the convention, even a single time. For the people saying she's supporting Kamala Harris because, she's standing with the trans rights, I think this is where this comment is coming from. Let me hear what you guys think about what the people in the states have to say, and as well these comments, and as well what Chappell Roan said is bringing up this whole controversy. Continue this conversation in the comment section, and I will see you guys in the next one.